Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Always Online Multiplayer Gaming Podcast brought to you by mmorpg, your home for all things multiplayer related. This is episode 445. I'm Mike Byrne, aka Magicman, and we're doing the show live, twitch.tv/mmobomb, Friday, 1 p.m. As always, we got chat hanging out with us, ready to give their opinions on a bunch of things. We'll be sure to give you those as we go. Make sure you leave your opinions on all the topics and the weekly bombs and question of the week in the comments below. They are a vital part of the back half of this show. And last week's question of the week, no, but like everybody just hated it. Nobody cared about Embracer and Lord of the Rings Online. So we'll give you a better question this week. We've got Final Fantasy 14 6.2 to talk about. We've got Gamescom news, and then we get to shake our heads at Activision Blizzard, specifically Hearthstone. Once again, it's becoming a common occurrence, shaking our head. Make sure you click like, click subscribe, and let's get started with all the fun action. Joining me today, Quinlan Bowers. What's up, Q?
Just XIV, really. I mean, that's what I've been doing for the last, I don't know how many days has it been now?
Just 14ing. Just doing the 14ing. Yeah, it came out Tuesday, so 3 days now? Like roughly 3 days, depending on how early you got up Tuesday morning.
It all kind of blends together after a while.
We're going to talk about it. It will be spoiler-free. As I said on a different podcast on Ready Check Radio last night, I don't think there were like too many real big spoilers in this particular patch, but nothing you probably didn't guess if you're a Final Fantasy IV fan. But yeah, we'll keep it relatively spoiler-free for you. Joining us to also chat 14, it's Aspen Pash. What's up, Rose Hoppa?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Super excited to be here.
Thank you for jumping in. I was like, hey, who is playing 14? I'd prefer to go with all three hosts having been playing it or diving into it or researching it. You know, Troy, not a 14 guy. I could have Troy on. He could talk about anything, but he's not a 14 guy. And Aspen jumping in. I was like, yeah, I'll talk 14. Like, okay, all right, let's do it. So I think on that note, after I get a piece of paper here. Oh my God, I don't have paper. There we go. Makes the timestamps a lot easier when I do it this way. Let's get started with the news. So last week, we obviously mentioned the final live letter prior to the show, but we really didn't cover it on this show. We did on the Relic Grind, if you want to go check that out on Ready Check Radio. Yesterday's episode where we did the patch review is also up, so you're all set there. That'll be a little more in-depth than we did here, since that show is specifically just Final Fantasy XIV. But my hosts last week, they were not the Final Fantasy 14s that I needed to discuss this. So I figured we'll wait until the patch comes out, and we'll just do our reviews. A Reds jersey? No. It's a Pizza Planet jersey from Toy Story, a baseball jersey from Toy Story. Because I'm a grown-up. And shouldn't I be a Pirates guy? If we had a pro team here in Pittsburgh, yeah, I'd probably be a Pirates guy. But we just have that farm club for the New York Yankees and everybody else. Anyway, 6.2. Q, what's your impression of the patch as a whole? First, so like you have you finished MSQ?
I finished MSQ. I finished the story content for the raids. Basically, if there's story, I've finished it.
Oh, cool. So you did have a chance to do the raid, because you had not when we were talking show notes, but you've completed it now.
Yeah, I did it yesterday with Justin.
Cool.
He and I went through and did it, and then I did it again with another friend to kind of like help him figure stuff out. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So what's your take? And we're going to spot check a few items specifically in the patch, but what's your overall impression? Did you enjoy 6.2? Was it as good as you expected? Did not live up to expectations? Where does it fall on the meter for you?
I was perfectly happy with it. The story was good on pretty much all accounts, I feel. and the side stuff, like the island sanctuary and all of that. Like the island sanctuary is pretty fun, but it's pretty much what I expected. It's something that literally everybody's trying to jump into, and a good majority of the player base is going to be done within about a week because it's just not their thing. Like this is what I feel like it's going to be like. But for those of us that are really into that kind of thing, it's definitely going to be something that, as long as they keep updating it and adding things for people to do, it'll be great for them.
What do you think in Aspen as far as 6.2 goes? Did it deliver for you? Have you completed everything? Like, where are you right now?
No, I have not. I'm very early in the game, actually. I don't even think I have purchased actually the newest expansion yet, which I don't think you can access Island Sanctuary
Yeah, you got
without
to
it
do the
too.
Endwalker story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
right, because you had unsubbed for a
yeah.
while. That I forgot about that.
Oh, and actually I was subbed the whole time. Yep.
You
That
just
was an
weren't
issue.
playing?
Wasn't play. No, I logged on. It's like you've been logged in for 300 days. I'm like, well, I haven't been playing for that long,
Oh
so
no.
yeah. But that's okay.
Just went to another one of Yoshi P's hot tubs. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Yeah, but I'm excited.
funneling new finger armor for Yoshi P. For Yoshi P. Yeah, I gotta say, 6.2 itself, I did enjoy it. Are you a Final Fantasy IV fan, Aspen?
Final Fantasy IV. I've never played Final Fantasy
Okay.
IV.
Okay. So then you have some like new characters coming up that will they're homages for longtime fans. There'll be new characters as far as Final Fantasy 14 goes for you. So that I can't imagine like playing through 6.2 and these being new characters to you. That's going to be very, very cool. We'll have to like circle back with you when you catch up on all of these things. MSQ I thought was really well done, Q. I thought it was really well done. I was actually really disappointed when I picked up the quest and it was called Buried Memories, right? Because that's the last quest is the patch's name. And as soon as I picked it up and saw the title of the quest, I was like, oh, this is going to be the end. I don't want this to end here. I want this. I don't want to wait 4 months to continue this damn story. I want to see where this goes. I want to jump into more content. I actually really, really like the MSQ. I loved the dungeon, Fell Court of Troya. The first boss, maybe not so much, kind of like just a horde mode-y type thing. And it really wasn't for me as far as the mechanics. I did like the character model. But the second and third boss, the third boss being one of the Archfiends, were, I thought, very, very good. I loved the environment. And then what I really liked afterwards, Q, was them using the dungeon's environment as the play space for a number of quests afterwards. Now, that doesn't mean I think they implemented it very well. It was just an awful lot of walk back and forth in this play space. But I did think it was cool that they're at least experimenting with using those dungeon locations as a real-world environment, not go in, do the dungeon, and then that's it. I thought that was really cool, but I hope it gets better in the future.
Yeah, I've wanted more of that since, because they've done it kind of once before, right? With the post near raid quests. The quest line there. They send you back in and you go in to fetch something, right? But you can kind of sort of like, I guess, move around and I'm just like, this is what we need more of, these, like, being able to go back into these dungeons and do things. I do know that friends of mine who are G posers are like super excited, they're super excited to just be able to like run around in there. And because especially like the the third area, like, it was just so pretty.
Oh, the gardens on top with the
Yeah,
castle proper in the background.
Yeah, it was, and the way the leaves and everything were, and it, like, because when I walked into it, I was like, "Wait, what is that?" Like, and I kind of zoomed in just because, like, you thought it was like one of those stones that changes color or something like that, and then you're like, "Wait a minute, those are all leaves."
Yeah.
Okay, that's all leaves. But it's like the 13th's actually kind of pretty. The first, like you were saying about the first boss. And the horde mode, there was a nice thing about that for me, and that's like, being maining dancer. Um, I just got to blast my AoEs
Oh
all over the
yeah,
place.
yeah.
So, that was totally fine. Just kind of run around and blast AoEs and take them out. But the without mentioning who it is, that trial though that comes after all of that,
Yes.
that is pain. It's so much pain.
I loved the trial. Absolutely loved the trial. I was a little concerned when we started going down this story of the Archfiends. Like, how do you make the Archfiends feel like they're something new and not a just updated version of Ifrit, Garuda, Leviathan, and Titan, right? We've already done the 4 elemental fights way back when. How do you mix these up enough so that they feel like their own identity? They don't just feel like reskinned, slightly variant versions of these elemental fights. And apparently the way you do it, Aspen, is you, instead of using wind, you use hair. Apparently that's the way you do it. As somebody that has long hair, I'm sure you can appreciate, forget the wind. The wind screws with that hair. Let's just use hair as a primary mechanic. Again, we've done that with another fight too, but it was front and center and part of the environment here. I can't wait till you get to it.
I know, I'm so jealous. Everything sounds so fun. But at the same time, I'm really trying to enjoy the beginning, and I haven't been spoiled, like, knock on wood, yet. So everything is really brand new to me.
What are you maining?
What do you think I'm maining as the blood elf in
Oh
a
yeah,
World of
so
Warcraft?
you were the blood elf in WoW. So you're probably an Elezen. But what class would you
no.
be? You're not.
No.
Oh, I
Look at
would
the
have.
hint.
You're a
Wait,
Makote, huh?
Yes,
You're a
yeah. I was like,
Makote.
Yeah,
of
just straight
course.
up would have been the buns.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, wait, I should bring these down a
Yeah,
bit.
that would have been Q if they were just straight up. Yeah, Q, you're
No.
are you Aura?
I'm all right, yeah.
Yeah.
I do
Oh.
have a bun character, but it is not my main. It's just like an alt for stuff.
What class are you maining? What job are you maining? What you were a blood elf pally, weren't you?
I was a rogue.
A rogue.
But I wouldn't base it off of that because it's different.
Oh, I don't know. Q, do you have a guess?
I mean, I guess it depends on where she's at in the story because some jobs you can't pick up till later. So
That's true. I'll give you a small hint. I Googled what is the easiest class to play.
wait, what is the easiest class to play?
Apparently, it's white mage, and it is very easy.
See, I got Bard when I ran that search.
Oh.
And the number one
it
result
did-
is by High Ground Gaming, and it says Bard is by far 14's easiest class for beginners to start.
Oh.
Interesting.
Well, white mage. Because Q times are so low for healers. So
Oh,
that
that's
was another
true.
reason.
Yeah, well, if that's important to you, then yeah, stick with the white mage. Because Bard, you'll be waiting for a while. You'll be waiting for a while.
Unless you have a tank or healer friend that just goes with you all the time, which is
Right.
what I do as a dancer.
Right. What did you think
smart.
of the raid, Q? Because honestly, I thought the normal versions were a little on the easy side compared to some of the... And obviously, the normal versions are made to be completed by almost anyone who wants to do them with just a little bit of practice. They're not like hardcore progression or anything. But I thought these were like... I went through all 4 and had 1 wipe. And I pugged all 4, just back to back. So that was like a little... okay, that was a little easier. But I did see some mechanics that I can't wait to see how they exploit them in the Savage mode next week.
So, yeah, now that I think about it, I think I had 1 wipe as well, and I kind of blame that more on just having a kind of a less than stellar party for that one.
It's always the party's fault. Always.
I mean, yeah, but anyway, so we
I've actually heard Aspen blame her party in Genshin Impact. That's how much It's always the party's fault. Always.
Always.
Wait, you
Doesn't
party in Genshin?
No,
Like, who
that's the point. That's the
Exactly.
point.
like, did you just build a bad group? Like,
No, not my fault. No, 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 no.
No.
It's the party.
The parties.
like, you can't blame this on Chong-Li. Um, but anyway, yeah, I think out of the 7 runs I did, there was just one wipe, and it was actually on me when I did P7 for the second time.
The big old tree. Big old tree.
Yeah, big old tree. Now I do have the benefit when I go in because Justin actually plays usually a bit ahead of me. Like he takes a whole days off from work and rolls through that stuff. Because he actually cares more about doing Savage and everything than I do.
Right.
So he rolls through it, so then I just grab him and have him tell me the mechanics.
So you don't like watch a guide or anything, but you kind of have you have a guide.
I don't watch a guide because it's easier for me personally to have the mechanics explained as they're happening and learn as I go than trying to watch something and listen to like somebody kind of in a monotone voice, because that like we were using a guide for the Unreal the other day, and that's what it was. It's like somebody speaking in a really monotone voice while the video is going, and it's like, yeah, this doesn't help me like at all. I'll just grab Emma and make him explain shit to me as I go. It'll work.
Are you a guide watcher, Rose?
I do like watching guides. Yeah, I like to know what to do.
Do you dig watching them before you even go in, or do you want to mess with it once or twice by yourself and then maybe watch a guide, or are you I need to go in knowing this thing?
So, like for brand new things, I'll definitely look before because I'm not trying to annoy anybody with like being in the wrong place or like getting knocked off the edge and everybody getting angry. Like I don't want that to happen. So I'll look things up before.
Ah, all right. Two ends of the spectrum there. It depends for me on who I'm going to be doing the things with. Like if it's the regular or the regular raids, like I don't watch a guide. I'm just going to go in knowing that I recognize 90% of the icons, and then there might be 10% new icons or variations on icons that, all right, maybe I'll get smacked once by. For Savages or Ultimates or Extremes or things like that, I'll probably watch a guide ahead of time because it's kind of like the expectation of the group, right? You're usually going into those with groups of at least predominantly people you know or play games with. So I just out as a courtesy to them, but there is something to be said for going into those fights blind. I do love that aspect sometimes. And then we get, of course, to the other big drop here, Island Sanctuary, a kind of just go do your own thing, catch and raise some Pokemon, animals, do gathering, lots of gathering, lots and lots and lots of gathering. You don't have to have your gathering or crafting or any of that leveled. You can just go. It's its own separate ecosystem for the gathering, the crafting, and all of that. You don't have to go in with particular classes or jobs leveled to certain degrees. Nope. You just go do your thing on your own little island sanctuary. Q, I have a feeling this is going to be more your thing than mine. Not that I'm not enjoying it. I think my Island Sanctuary is like rank 4. I might have made rank 5 before the show yesterday, but I'm pretty sure it's 4. So I finished like the main tutorial stuff, building your hut, building the workshop, building the first few structures, getting your crops, catching your first animal. Like I've done all of that stuff, but I'm really just now getting into the upgrading stuff and sitting around and waiting stuff, which is where the Island Sanctuary goes from here. I'm enjoying it more than I thought. I still feel like I'm only doing it to get the minions, of course, and as soon as I have the minions, I doubt I'm going to stick around. But I am curious where they take this, because I feel like so much time and money was invested in developing this, that this can't be a one and done, this is what you get. They're going to almost have to expand this unless the player base just absolutely hates it, in which case We've seen them abandon stuff in the past. I don't think that's going to be the case. So how are you enjoying it so far, and where do you kind of envision them taking Island Sanctuary?
I mean, the whole idea behind Alien Sanctuary, of course, they explained this to the players, but they should have known better. Was that it's supposed to be a place for you to go and chill and relax. Like you do stuff there, and there is waiting and all of that stuff, but you can queue into dungeons from there and other things. So it's not like you're there isolated from everything that's going on. It's just a place for you to go and do things. And they intended for it to be just, do it at a slow pace and whatever, and it's going to take you a while.
So
But
naturally, the
again,
internet totally mapped the island, has all the
yes,
resources where everything
yes.
is. Like that stuff has already come and gone. It's happened. People are putting out guides on how to get to rank 10 ASAP. So yeah, totally did exactly what they meant for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like even the XP gain, right, is so minimal because a lot of your XP gain comes from just the gathering, but you get
Yeah,
like 10 per item gathered. Like that's it. 10 per item gathered. So you're gathering for a while in the in between spaces of the hurry up and wait portion, right? Where it's like, well, I've either already built things and I just haven't eked up over the line for the next, and I think I'm somewhere between a third and a half of the way through level 5.
gotcha.
So now I kind of look at it and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a lot of gathering. But it's
Yes.
gathering that you can turn around and turn into manufacturing for resources and stuff. The other problem for me comes in is, well, I'd be farther ahead, right? Except I wanted to get the story quest done, so I did all of that stuff first. I did, Tataru's thing. I did the MSQ. I did the raid stories and all of that jazz. And then I've been spending the bulk of the rest of my time doing gathering for the artisans in our FC, so that they
Ah,
can get
gotcha.
raid gear made for
Yeah,
everybody,
for next
right?
week.
So I'm running around doing, gathering for them and less gathering in my island. I did catch a few animals.
And you can pet the animals.
You can pet the animals, you feed the animals, the animals leave leavings. I
Yeah,
don't know
you
why
you
they named
gotta
it that.
you gotta scoop up after the damn animals too. It's,
But the said leavings are like, you know, of value, like they'll leave milk or whatever. So I think it's like a fun, nice side diversion, which is what it's intended to be. But for the people who are like, I just got to get everything done, get the mounts, get the minion, you know, and I'm sure they'll add more minions to it because right now there's only one,
yeah.
at least that I see, right?
Uh,
But get all of those things, get the gear, get your outfits.
Now, and they said multiple times this was not a replacement for housing, not a replacement for housing, not a
It is
replacement for
not.
housing. And by the 100%, it is not. You can't use housing items there at all. And in fact, everybody's structures, provided, Q and I have all of our structures upgraded to the same point, all of our structures are exactly the same. Like there is no customizing as far as the way the structures look. I'd say the only real piece of kind of customizing you get is some of the structures can be moved. So like,
They can also be rolled back.
right. That,
Like
that
you
that's
could
why I
if you
said
to change the
provided they're all
appearance.
the same ranking. We have
Yeah.
selected the same ranking as the appearance. Is some of them can be moved, so the layout of the structures might be different between you and your friend's island. But the structures themselves, if you're using the level 1 cozy hut, that's going to look the same everywhere. Then you do have the ability to let loose a bunch of your own minions. About 40 minions is the cap right now, so that is 10% of the minions I have. So there's maybe, you view that as customizing too. What pets you actually gather and take care of. But there's nothing like super customizable about it. So it feels like Farmville, except in 3D and in your MMO. Does that
I
do
mean, it's
anything for you, Aspen? Is that the type of feature you want in a Final Fantasy XIV, a World of Warcraft, your AAA MMO?
So it depends. Is the only thing you can honestly get out of it that affects you outside the sanctuary the minions and the mounts right now? Like there's nothing
And
else?
And
outfits.
outfits,
Like,
yeah.
Okay, there's
Yeah,
outfits.
there's
All right.
cosmetics in
there's
there too.
plans.
Okay. All right. Okay, you added a third in there, so I think it's worth it. I do like cosmetics. If it was just the two, I'd be a bit skeptical. Sounds a bit like the teapot in Genshin, which I absolutely hate. But
Oh,
See, I'm
Q
a big fan
loves
of
her
the teapot.
teapot.
yeah, I hate the
I'm a
teapot.
big fan of the teapot. I do wish the teapot had more plots for growing stuff because
Right.
they just give you 3 and it's like I have this
Yeah,
whole
it's
area over here I could turn into farmland. But nah, y'all are like we'll just give you the 3 and that's it because we still just want you to harvest stuff out the real world. But that is the thing, like you're planting and growing stuff and in the island you can expand it, but none of that stuff transfers outside. So you're not like going to be growing Favnarian onions in your island sanctuary.
right,
No,
because you
But
were talking about that
you have
last
to go
time.
back to your house and do that there. Do
you
your
mean
gardening.
yeah, for those that have houses, yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just, go spend some money on the market board or whatever.
Go ahead, Aspen. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, yeah, like, so, right, in Genshin, like, you can actually plant things and then use them in the real world, which is really nice, but it kind of, I understand why they didn't do it in Final Fantasy because, like, again, like, I think he was talking about all the conspiracies of people like, oh my goodness, are we going to be able to plant these and gather these and, like, what's going to happen to the market if that is included? But they didn't include it, so it's like, oh, okay.
The number one piece of the patch, and I would, before we move on and give this a rating and then talk some Gamescom, I would be remiss. Q would slap me if I did not bring this up. You can now wear wings and sit. Q's favorite part of the patch.
That's like the prime thing right there. The funny thing is, right, that when they put in the patch notes the stuff that you could do, they were showing you basically doing the singing in the rain
Yeah,
dance
yeah.
with an umbrella. And I'm like, if they put that in there and I can't sit with my wings on, I'm gonna be mad.
Q's favorite part of the patch. You
Most
can
important
sit
thing, for sure.
with wings on. I'm going to give it a 9. I actually, some of these patches are hit and miss for me. This one was more a hit than not. Wasn't a fan of the first boss of the Fell Court dungeon, but I like the dungeon itself. I loved the trial. I did like the raid. Maybe it was a little easier than I would have liked, but it's also the normal version, so maybe that's to be expected in most cases. I cannot wait until we get variant dungeons and criterion dungeons in the .5 here to see what those are like. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Loved the story. Loved our new assistant, party member, friend, whatever you want to. Loved that character. Don't want to spoil anything, and because Final Fantasy IV fans may extrapolate a potential story beat off of the character's given name by us. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9. Q, where do you put it?
I think it's right up there. Yeah, I everything that I did, I really enjoyed. It didn't feel like I was really wasting any time or, and I mean, the most important thing to me, aside from wings, in it was definitely the story part first. I really wanted to get the story done and complete, and then, just be able to kind of chill with everything else. Um, but and like you said, the raids did feel easier, except for maybe the second one for me. Like the second one, a lot of people, at least on my server, are struggling with hard.
Oh, that's funny because on mine it's the third because of the changing arena.
Yeah, that one was like, I guess I don't know, but yeah, for us, it's definitely the second one at like and it tends to be the case, right? Like there's always one that everybody just really, struggles with more than any of the others. So apparently it's that one for us. But the rest of them, yeah, I feel like they were easier to pick up by the time I was doing the fourth one. I was like, oh, I got this. No problem. And so um you're right on that part. They are all a little bit easier than the last batch. But yeah, I think a 9 is a good spot for it.
And initially, I thought the raid story was just like ending, and I'm like, well, where's we get 4 more circles, right? What the hell's going on?
I
Like,
know.
it just felt like they were wrapping up, and everybody was okay. We'll talk to you later. And then there's like that one last beat at the end. You're like, oh shit, okay. Well, I did not expect that. Hello.
I have theories on that, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about those on a future show. And Aspen, I think from here on out, what we've got to do is every time you're on, we've got to get an update on where you're at in 14's main story, how you're enjoying it, and if you've switched classes or jobs or anything. Where are you at right now? Are you still in, I think, Heaven's Word stuff?
Yeah, I'm still in the very beginning. I'm level like around 35, but I actually just got my my mount.
So you're
that's
still
like,
in A Realm Reborn. Okay.
oh yeah, I'm like super early. Yeah, I'm not at Heaven's Word.
You are still
yet,
in A
right.
Realm Reborn, and you have been paying your sub for a year now.
Oh, don't.
Did you just like not know that it was being withdrawn? Is that what it was? I thought I canceled it, and apparently I didn't type deal?
So I had to use my husband's credit card because he has a Japanese credit card and I do
Oh,
not.
right.
And I thought I did a one-time payment. Like, I'm not scummy. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to steal all his money. So I thought it was a one-time payment. Turns out I am scummy because I did a full-time payment like continuously and I wasn't even playing.
Oh.
So when I found out, like I'm so happy I logged in because I logged in to actually like start again after I think the last time I was on and hearing you guys talk about Final Fantasy. I was like, oh, it sounds so much fun. I gotta play. And then I was like, wait a second, like I can log in? Wait a second. What are all these rewards for being like continuously like paying?
Man.
Yeah.
That's
it's
brutal.
okay.
That's brutal.
Fine.
Have we told the husband yet, or are we keeping this one under our hat?
Actually, no. He'll find out eventually. He sees me playing, so I'm like, that's basically he should understand.
Yeah, he's got to know I have to pay for this, right?
It's on him.
This
It's on
isn't
him. Like you
free.
should. Yeah.
Well, we'll keep getting updates from you, and if you are newer to Final Fantasy XIV, throw in the comments what you think so far, and if you're right where we're at, let us know what you thought of 6.2 as well. Let's move over now and talk a little bit of Gamescom. Now, obviously, we're not going to cover a ton of just the general convention. Being a multiplayer gaming channel, we're going to stick to the multiplayer pieces of news, which honestly, there wasn't a whole lot. But by saying that, I also have to acknowledge there was more than I thought there was going to be. Day one, the opening night ceremony had quite a bit. And then there were a few things that trickled in later that night that we covered kind of like the next mornings or in the late evening of the opening night. And then Future Game Show, which was the primary stream on day two, that felt, I don't know what anybody else felt, but that, to me, that was like the indie showcase. Like, it was just bang, bang, bang. These games, like, I've never heard of them. 90% of these, I've never heard of their developers. There were a few key titles in there, but nothing like super big or anything like that. It was just like, wow, okay, cool. I didn't know this. I don't have a problem with this being an indie showcase or like a single A or double A, if you want to call it that. But I didn't know that's what it was going to be going into it based on previous Future game shows. So a lot of the news on the multiplayer front came out in the first day. And I think, obviously, Destiny 2, just general news. Aspen, you've been covering that. This is pretty big. Their whole King's Fall raid from the original Destiny returns today. So the world first race for the championship belts over at Bungie has begun, huh?
Yes, it has. I always thought it'd be so cool to like do world's first. Impossible for myself, but it'd be pretty cool to have that belt.
We got a bunch of information about Lightfall. The expansion continues to look good. The release date was announced. So we've got that February 28th, the end of February. And it's on the Epic Games Store. Yay. I mean, you can play it for free for a little while. The additional content for free. Obviously, the base game's already free to play, but so a lot on the Destiny 2 front. I'm not going to cover everything, but I have to cover this one. I have to. This is absolutely tremendous.
I think I know which one it is.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space is getting a frickin' video game. It's getting an asymmetric 3v7 game. So think Dead by Daylight, those types of games, those asymmetric gameplays. Now, we already had Friday the 13th, which was doing very, very well until, unfortunately, they had to stop doing everything while rights lawsuits between movie holders were settled, and that basically killed that game. We have Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming up. Not horror, but kind of in the same vein. We have Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed coming in October as well. So a lot on the asymmetric gameplay front. I wasn't surprised to see an asymmetric gameplay game shown off. I was surprised it was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'm a huge horror movie buff. If you go look at the Blu-ray DVD shelf, it's a mess of good, bad, and ugly as far as horror movies go. We've actually done whole streams just looking at bizarre movies on there. Tremendously bad 1980s horror movie. Bad, so bad it's good. And when I first saw Q3v7, I was like, what odd numbers to... Oh, I know why they picked that number. That number, because the three primary clowns are basically throughout the entire movie moving as a trio. So this is going to be like super... Oh, we also have Evil Dead in this genre too. So a little bit of a crowded genre right now. But did they pick the right title to maybe break themselves apart from the crowd a little?
I mean, I don't know on the title per se, but they are doing stuff a little bit different than everybody else, like the 3v7 and stuff. So that might be interesting enough. The clowns might be a hit or miss because there are a lot of people that are just terrified of clowns and will just stay away from it.
Aspen already shaking her head. Yep.
I couldn't even read it. Like, I couldn't read the article.
Like because those three clowns are like right there. I mean, yeah, clowns are very scary things. So yeah, it might be great, and that might be just different enough to kind of pick out its place. So.
You can get chat pointing out that the license was probably pretty cheap. Yeah, I would agree that the license was probably pretty cheap. There's also, I think you can get a lot more creative with this than you can with Evil Dead. You can take some liberties with weapons and abilities as well too. But Friday the 13th has always been kind of, besides the fact that he doesn't die, that Jason doesn't die, it's always been based in hatchets and knives and traditional weaponry in both directions. Where something like this, they've already started teasing the popcorn rocket launcher. Is one of the clown's weapons that basically coats people in a kind of a poisonous popcorn buttery scent that allows the clowns to see them through walls. So you can get really ridiculous with the weapons. The kills, as pointed out in chat by Ducky, absolutely right. The kills in the game in the movie were outrageous to some respect. So I would expect them to be here as well. And they confirmed on Twitter today, Aspen, something that you will like, even though they're not clowns. You don't like clowns. You will like no NFTs. They were like, hey, everybody's asking us. We appreciate your enthusiasm, but no, we're not going down that road.
Perfect.
Mama Java clown so much. Nope. Now, it is from the executive director of Friday the 13th, which was really well done and well received until they weren't allowed to add content to it. So I am hopeful that this will work out. I can't wait to play it. This might have been my favorite thing shown off. If I had to guess yours, Q, was it Dune?
No.
I mean, I know it's survival and that's not really your cup of tea, but on the list, I was like, probably Dune. So if it wasn't Dune, what was your favorite?
I didn't have one.
Oh, shit. She's just like, no. I mean, Tower of Fantasy's first expansion was announced. That's got to make Rose real happy, right?
I'm so happy. It's exuding from my entire body.
Did you try it at least since launch?
I did. I did try it. And I hated it so
Why?
much. I don't know. I think to me, like when it comes to an MMO, like I compare everything to Final Fantasy now. Like absolutely everything. And I feel like it's not that clean. And people are like, it's a new game, it's a new game. It's not a new game. Like
Yeah,
it's new
you're definitely
globally,
right. Yeah, it's new
but
here.
it's not a new game. For there to be so many glitches and the sketchy things, like it's just not for me. It's cool if you like it. I'm not gonna be there for that though.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I'm honestly amazed you tried it because I thought you were just gonna nope out because you were like, I'm so not interested in this.
Yeah.
So I give you credit for trying it. I give you credit. I did mention Dune because Funcom said, hey, we made a successful desert game in Conan, so let's go ahead and make another desert game. They're billing this as an open world survival MMO, which I find really weird, Q, because we had a conversation this morning, you and I, about Conan Exiles. They don't use MMO anywhere on that particular game, although there are multiplayer functions, so we do cover it on the site. This seems very much in that vein. Like, maybe if you want to play with other friends, you can, but it's weird to me that they're tossing the MMO term around on this one.
Yeah, I don't know. It could just be like it could be different enough to actually be an MMO in some way, or it could just be that there's like a change in, I don't know, policy. Because right, there's that thing that game developers do too, where they're like, now this we're not going to say the word MM or the term MMO,
Yeah.
right? We're not going to say that. And then you come along later and you're like, dude, this is an MMO. Like, so then they just start calling their game an MMO. Like I think that could possibly be it, or I don't know, but I mean,
and I'm not just talking about like user tags. They actually have it tagged on Steam with MMO and online PvP as the two tags.
Right. So and it may be like one of those MMOs where you're just kind of like out doing your own thing until you run into PvP or something, but
I'm a big fan of the franchise. Like, I like the IP, Aspen, but I'm so over survival games. Like, I'm just over, oh, hey, here's another open world that you can run around in and build a hut in and find water and find weapons. And in this one, of course, you'll have space crack in Spice, where you got to farm and keep that spice going. I'm so personally over those that this holds, even with an IP I like, it just holds no interest for me. Maybe I'm in the minority, and I'm sure Funcom is hoping I'm in the minority. I'll try it, but I don't have any expectation that it's going to be something I stick with, no matter how good Dune Awakening ends up being.
Right. I mean, I wonder if they're like banking on just how pretty the game looks so far, very pretty, but then again, that's just the trailer. And I wish they showed more. Like when they said MMO, I kind of got excited and I watched the trailer and I was like, "Oh, I've learned nothing about this. This is just like the movie." Like that's like so I don't know. And also, like, doing a survival thing in a desert, I wonder if it'll get bland and boring, and if spice is really, like, the only thing that there is to collect. I mean, I'm sure there'll be other things. There
Conan
has to be.
Exiles is doing well. It's in a desert, most of it's in a desert. You just can't see Dune as an MMO from Mama Java. It seems like it would be more diluted to an RPG single player. I kind of agree. I guess I guess it depends. Although here, maybe we should put a qualifier on that, right? Like, I could see Dune as an MMO queue if it were not trying to retell the main story of the Dune series of books. Like, if it was an MMO in the Dune universe, side story. I do agree with Mama Java. If you were trying to tell, like, or use as the main narrative of your MMO the primary story in the first couple of books of Dune, I think so much of the intricacies of that storyline and the politics between factions and all of that, I think so much of that ends up getting lost if you don't do something a little more directed and focused on the narrative, where MMOs kind of, they have to do a lot more than just tell a story. So I kind of agree there, as if they tried to stick to the main story stuff.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Like, to me, Dune as a story does not feel like an MMO, and I don't know, but like I said, the MMO is really kind of a fluid description at this point for a lot of things.
It's kind of a
Um,
meaningless description, if we're being honest.
yeah, yeah, it's just, kind of like, well, if because I mean, there's the massively part, right, of it that should give it some sort of distinction, but it all depends on what you consider massively, and are you talking about just massive amounts of people or a massive world or whatever? I mean, obviously the original intent was massive amounts of people.
Yeah, I literally yesterday I saw a Twitter argument between hundreds of people on whether or not Fortnite was an MMO, because it is multiplayer, it is online. You could argue, depending on your viewpoint, that it is massive as far as the number of players that are trying to play at any given time, where the counter argument was it's not massive because there's only 100 people and it's lobby-based, it's not a persistent world, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, it's like it's just changed anymore. But as to the game itself, yeah, like Rosa, it's like the desert environment, that's one of the reasons. Like, while I like watching Dune and reading Dune, I don't want to live in the world of Dune. Like, there's like I am playing a survival game right now. I've actually been playing Chimera Land with Justin on and off. And it's not a desert. It's janky.
You made it out of the
Yeah.
character creator? Because like
Oh,
I keep getting stuck there. I'm like, man, no, let me change this. Let me change that.
yeah.
It's
The character creator is huge. But the thing about it is once you create a character and you go into the game and you start playing, you can collect bits and pieces and go back and alter your appearance.
yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Um but yeah, like, it's janky. There's stuff in it that doesn't work, but it's not brown.
Yeah.
Like, it is not a solid desert environment. There's variation, there's stuff to look at. It's not just like this depressing kind of post-apocalyptic thing that everybody seems to like to go with this genre. So that if I'm gonna do, survivally games, that's where I'm at. But
What was your favorite multiplayer thing, Aspen, from Gamescom?
Yeah, like I'll choose something. I guess
I'll
because
choose
when
something. And you know
well,
what?
because
Like,
he was already like I didn't like
yeah,
anything, and I was like, oh, that
but
was my
here's the
answer.
thing. Like, I walked away from day one. Like, obviously, I was kind of enamored with Killer Clowns, but that comes from an absolute love of old bad horror movies more than, hey, I would really like to play a Killer Clowns game. Yeah, I can't argue with it. Like, Gamescom has been, at least the online stuff, has kind of been underwhelming. And I don't think we're alone in that. But yes, I'm going to make you pick one because Q already claimed not picking one.
Exactly.
it's
So I'll
okay to
say
not like things.
the finals seemed a bit interesting,
Oh, the
actually.
free-to-play shooter thing.
Yeah, I like the concept of it. Like it was cool. I think you'll go to like different iconic, well, it says iconic locations. So I'm like, does that mean like Paris and Tokyo? And you can kind of manipulate things by shooting people. And then there's different levels because I guess you're going to the finals of the game.
Yeah,
So
it's like
like each
tournament
round,
structure, yeah.
yeah. So that sounds kind of interesting and fun, and it could be nice.
Q, Q. Now, Jason in chat. This is why I quit. Mike making me pick games. Please, like I could ever make you pick anything. Like, no, I'm not picking one. All right, one last thing I want to cover very quickly. Let us know if you saw anything you liked at Gamescom. What is Blizzard doing to Hearthstone, Q? What the hell is going on with this game?
Okay, first of all, I have not understood what Blizzard's been doing for a while.
Fair, fair.
Like, but in this case, they decided to put in changes for their battlegrounds system, which prior to these changes worked in conjunction with the main game. So you could use currency in regular old Hearthstone to buy things or in battlegrounds. But they've decided to implement a system now where you're using the good old purchase a premium currency for and then spend that currency to buy the stuff in it for amounts that don't quite equate, because that's how we get you to spend more money, kind of deal. And people are less than pleased about it for pretty good reasons.
Well, I mean, it basically takes Battlegrounds out of the realm of free-to-play portion of the game, right? Because the premium currency is locked in the Battlegrounds. You can't make regular pass progression to get that currency and then maybe buy the Battlegrounds pat. They're now two totally separate ecosystems. Like, unreal. Maybe the game just isn't doing well. I mean, there were people online, Aspen, saying that they hadn't played in whatever X months, and they were getting emailed invitations to come back, offering them 150 packs to come back. Like, you don't offer to give away that many packs. If true, I did not get one of those emails. I'm giving anecdotal stories I've seen online in response to this stuff. If your game's doing well, you're not giving away 150 packs.
Yeah, no, that's just a bad business model then.
Yeah, so Jason pointing out the big thing is that having the pass lets you pick from 4 heroes where free players can only pick from 2, and now that requires a purchase, and that's what's really pissing people off. On the good side of this patch, because I do want to give you a good side, you can finally report toxic behavior. Amazing. Aspen, we did it. We did it. What year did this game freaking launch? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 86 years.
Okay. First of all, what's the point in the players reporting toxic behavior when they were having, all the toxic behavior in office anyway? They weren't they weren't equipped to deal with that. They couldn't deal with it at their own house.
They did say emote spamming is not considered toxic, by the way. So don't report that. They're not going to do anything about emote spamming. I am left, Aspen, just thinking the game is not doing as well as we thought it was doing. I mean, there's no other way to take this. This is purely a money grab situation for a game that was already money grabby to begin with, just by the very nature of the genre that it's in.
Yeah, it's like jumping the shark in a financial ruin way.
in a financial...
If there's a term for that.
Yeah, I think it's the Joe Exotic meme. This is going to... I will never financially recover from this. I will never financially recover from this. Let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. Jason Winter. Fair. Is any Blizzard game really doing well right now? Ninja Pandas is probably in its final squeeze. Oh, excuse me, hiccuped. All right, weekly bombs. Dub bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or just life in general. I'm going to give a huge dub bomb to Final Fantasy XIV using the dungeon layout for a while after you were done with the dungeon. I do have to give them an A bomb for the way it was used. It really just served as a set, and they made us walk back and forth across it a couple of times. I'd like to see this expanded on, though. And as Q brought up, if they did this, it would totally negate the need for dungeons being adjusted after the fact to allow GPOs visitors. That whole visitation tool that we can do in some dungeons but not others, where you can walk around in it after the words with nobody in there and take pictures. If they use them as real-world locations, not only is that a little more immersive, but you would also not have the development needed for that. So dub bomb for doing it. I like the experimentation. A bomb for its implementation this time. I hope it improves. Go ahead, Q.
I mean, what do you think I'm going to give it the bomb to? I can sit down with wings. That's it. I can sit down with wings.
Fair. I'm wondering when you're going to wear wings to the podcast.
I'll just put my character up.
There you go. There you go. Go ahead, Aspen.
Yeah, I will give a dub bomb to the new Genshin Sumeru 3.0.
Yeah, your guides are awesome, by the way.
They could always be better. They could always be better.
No, go ahead and plug them. Those are awesome for Genshin fans, man. Because you cater your guides one to a specific character, but then you talk like the artifacts, you talk the kit, like you talk, but then you also, and I think people will appreciate this, you break it down for, hey, if you've spent a little money in the game, this is going to be the way to go, and if you are totally a free player, this is going to be the way to go. You don't just cater it to A is the best weapon in the game, and I really like that about your guides.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important, and also for like the new players, because there's still so many people that are just joining Genshin. And at first I was worried about the last guy because I was like, oh, I don't really know if this is going to be too viable for like new players. Like, do I need to do the like below AR 45 artifacts? Because by the point you're in Sumeru, you should be AR 45. But I found out actually you don't have to finish in Azuma, which is the region before. You can go straight to Sumeru. So I was like, okay, maybe it is viable. If people are allowed to explore as they would like, then yes, they're going to need artifacts that are lower level for them.
From chat, we've got Timbo James giving both an A and a dub bomb. I'm going to assume an A for catching COVID and a dub bomb for finally starting to get over it. Yeah, that sucks that you got it, but we are glad you're getting over it. Speedy recovery to you. Ninja Panda saying, dub bomb to Dead Island rising from the grave of silence and giving us a so-called release date as long as it's not delayed like normal. It'll be delayed. Don't worry about it. But yeah, and that kind of sucked because I guess that was like one of the big Gamescom things that they had up their sleeve, and then that got spoiled and leaked the day before or 2 days before. Stojanowski, da bomb for House of the Dragon premiere episode. I have not watched yet. But Aspen, you're nodding. Have you watched it?
No, but like I'm super jealous. I don't have HBO.
Oh, you could literally do it online, right? Get yourself a NordVPN. Not a sponsor.
Could be. No.
Just tell. Yeah, just tell. Just ask for your husband's card. Like, you'll be fine. You'll totally be fine. In fact, I mean, if you want to toss the card over here, I got a couple of things I'll use it for. Just
to everybody.
Yeah. To Cal saying, A-bomb to the way the 13th looks, talking about the 13th in Final Fantasy XIV. Far too nice looking for a world that's supposed to be drowned in darkness and misery. I get that they can't make an ugly-looking map, but they need to. When I look at the 13th, I should feel like I need to get the hell out of here ASAP. I really liked the aesthetic, but I do get, we had such like over-glaring light throughout all of frickin' Shadowbringers, and it was like, there were times I wanted to leave, just like, this is too bright. I'm done in here. And I don't get that impression. So I feel where you're coming from. The aesthetic really worked for me, though. I love it. Thovrisk says, dub bomb to Moist Dreamhole Studios. This is the third show in a row somebody in the comments has brought up Moist Dreamhole Studios. We asked a number of weeks back that everybody name their studio, their game studio, with 2 words. And, studios or games or whatever on the end didn't count. You were allowed to use 2 words. And Moist Dreamhole just won't go away. Didn't they make My Name is Mayo? Oh, God. Q, go ahead. Take the next one.
Volvozarius, da bomb to James Rolfe, a.k.a. Angry Video Game Nerd. 15 years ago, August 2007, I clicked on one of his videos for the first time. And I was like, this guy is reviewing video games, but these games are like from the 80s. Who is doing that? In my mind, a review to a game means a new game, and also for some reason he is very angry and there is still a lot of cursing. But on top of all, his videos are funny and entertaining. Since then, 15 years later, still a big fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more a classic AVGN fan than a more modern day stuff with all of his different partnerships. I think the content has changed, but that's okay. I mean, that happens on any long-time YouTube content creator, your audience changes, your stuff changes, all that stuff. Go ahead, Aspen.
Okay, Kitsuruha. Been a while for one of these, but F-bomb to Tower of Fantasy for literally breaking my OS, and it took me a half a day to get my PC to stop randomly blue screen of death every 5 to 20 minutes or so. It's a little fun, but not that fun to have a repair window. Do not put every fix I ran in this because of a game update. No, thank you.
Oof.
That's it.
Oof. Yeah, that's no fun. Alan Alien says, so glad you guys never give up on this channel. You guys are still here. We're still here. We never left. Yeah, we never left. To which somebody replied, actually, this channel hasn't grown in like 6 years. To which I had to reply, yeah, most YouTube channels haven't. It's just not the way YouTube works anymore. But we are so thankful for those of you that do continue to stop by, and we will always be here to talk multiplayer games with you, whether it's on YouTube or on the site. Totally up to you. Some of us are still here. Yeah, Jason's not here anymore. Go ahead, Q. He's still here.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Mike. I do intend to die at some point, so
not allowed.
I won't.
Not allowed.
Corey V. Redfall reminds me of Secret World. Tell me more.
Yeah, I wish I could go with you there. It's going to be more Division 2 with vampires than Secret World. I wish it was. I'm excited for it either way. I'm excited for it either way, but yeah, Q, I'm with you. I would like it more. No, it's not one of those building things, Jason. It's an open world thing. You're not building houses and stuff like that. Question of the week last week that none of you cared about is Embracer buying the Lord of the Rings stuff good or bad for the current MMO? How about a future one? Not one of you answered that question. However, Kitsuruha did say, I don't know much about Embracer, so I don't really have an opinion. But as far as names, talking about where they get the question of the week, the previous week, where you get your online name that you use in MMOs, I just combined Kitsune with the name of a fox spirit from a game I love, no one really talks about. She's Yuzuruha from Muramasa, the Demon Blade, originally from back on the Wii, and I used Elite Speak. I shortened it to K172UH4. So we get 2 weeks ago the question, nobody cared about Embracer. So this week, I'm going to ask you about Embracer. No, I'm just kidding. You've given us your studio names. Now, your studio's making its first game. What's it called? And what type of game is it? And if you need to, because it'll make your puns make more sense, please remind us of the studio name if you need to. If you don't want to play along with that fun stuff, give us your favorite Gamescom game that was revealed in the comments below. We'll, of course, be back next week with another episode of the Always Online podcast. Friday at 1 p.m. on twitch.tv/MMOBomb. Until then, Aspen, where can everybody find you?
You can find me across all socials at Rose Hoppa.
Cute.
Twitter at Quitland. If you look hard enough, I might be there.
If you look hard enough. What are you, one of those magic eyes? You're like, I can almost see Q there if I stare past Twitter.
I'm not sure when the last time I made a tweet was. I don't even remember. And it was probably a reply to somebody else.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there at magicman1, but more importantly, follow at mmobomb. That way you'll know every time we go live with a podcast, stream, put up new articles, news, guides, first look videos, giveaways, and more. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.